Specifically, it's called biogeometric integration, or BGI for short, or it's just abbreviated. The founder of that work died this week, and it's left this really huge gaping hole in our community. It's really got me thinking about it a lot. Basically, every time I adjust, I'm brought back to seminars that I had with this woman, and she's not around it anymore, at least not physically. So I thought just to honor her memory, I would talk more about BGI and more about what that brings to my practice of chiropractic. I don't know how interesting it's going to be for you guys. It's not technical per se, but it definitely gets into more the inner workings of chiropractic, and even how the way that I practice might differ from how a quote-unquote traditional chiropractor might practice. The first term you guys got to know is the term subluxation. In medical, after a car accident, yeah. In medical parlance, it just means that something is not quite in the right spot, but it's not enough out of the right spot to call it a dislocation. Chiropractic definition, traditional chiropractic definition, includes the concept of nerve interference. So something might be out of place, specifically in the spine, is traditionally how we talk about it. And then that's impacting the nerve, whether physically, like you're stepping on a garden hose and preventing water, in this case, nerve impulses to go through. Or because of that, it's stuck, there's inflammation, and that's causing pressure, which is doing basically the same thing. It only takes weight in like the amount of a dime, the weight of a dime, to impact the performance of a nerve by up to 50%. Your nerves are important. That important. Your nerves are really important. You know, they coordinate every single function in your body, so it's important that they function well. Now, what biogeometric integration brings to the table, what Sue Brown brought to it was a definition of subluxation that took it into like a quantum mechanics, quantum physics sort of realm, with the understanding that we are all energy, right? Even physically, I mean, this chair is energy. It just happens to be in a form that we call matter. What differentiates the chair from other forms of energy are just the way that those waves of energy are expressing, and all the different frequencies that are there. So we're that same way. The potential energy theory of subluxation says that when I have an experience, I'll just talk about me, it's my 8 minutes. When I have an experience that experience, that information has to get integrated by my system, and the way that it does that is primarily through the nerve system. And if it does, that's great. That experience, that energy just gets integrated into my system, and what is expressed in me becomes maybe a little bit more complex, a little bit more vibrant. I get to express more of who I am with every experience that I have. I'm learning and growing and evolving all the time. That's the concept, that's the ideal. And that doesn't happen every time, right? We have experiences that are hard to, what we call, integrate. Car accidents are a great example of that. Humans, I don't think, we haven't really evolved to the point where a car accident is just something we can go, haha, that was funny. We can't do that, but other things we can do that with. You know, I could just sort of stumble, and assuming I've got the physicality to deal with that, it might not subluxate me at all. Someone else it might. Everybody's different. So then, the experience gets, instead of integrated and becoming just a part of me that way, it gets stuck. Okay, just like if we're talking about waves and energy like that, we can also talk about sound. We can talk about music. Okay, and this is Sue Brown's. That's the founder of BGI. Sue Brown's great loves was also karaoke, because she just loved music, and that's how she saw what she did in chiropractic was all about tone, all about symphonies and melodies, and just she called it waveform dynamics. So if you have one instrument that's out of tune in a symphony, you can hear it, right? Everything else might be perfect, but you got that one instrument, it's not quite in tune, you hear it. That's what happens in the body. You have an experience, you don't integrate it all the way, it gets stuck, it's not a part of you, it's out of tune from all the rest of you. And then physically how that shows up is, you get a little distorted, your body just gets a little tweaked. And you may not notice it at first, you can actually deal with that okay. And then that makes you a little less flexible for the next time. And then the next time, and the next time. And then suddenly you're like, you know, my leg hurts. But it was all these other things that led up to my leg hurts. The adjustment, where I come in, the adjustment is about assessing where are all those different patterns coming from, how are they all stuck and stored in the system, and what is the best way to help your body integrate that experience that you have stored from who knows how long. maybe from when you were 2, maybe from yesterday. So it's not about fixing something, it's not about making something go away, it's really about giving the body another chance to integrate that experience, which gives you an opportunity to learn, grow, and evolve from it. That's very exciting to me. The idea is that anything that's ever happened to you, you still have an opportunity to learn from it. You still have an opportunity to grow from it. You still have the opportunity to express more of who you are because of something that happened when you were 2 that you were still dealing with. That's super cool. I'm all about self-expression. What's holding people back? What gets stuck that is preventing you from being fully self-expressed in this world? Because that's, in my opinion, what we're here for, is to express our gifts fully and completely. And that's how I see chiropractic. Like, yes, it definitely works with health. Because health is an expression, it is a self-expression of our physiology and all of that. But it's also about all these other things. That's why in my practice I see things like emotionally people shift and change. They become more confident. I had someone come in because of numbness and tingling in their arm, and the review that I got after she left from 3 weeks of care was that she was able to confront a coworker who was harassing her, and she owed it to the adjustment. That's super cool. I didn't know that going in. She didn't tell me about that. But that's, to me, the power of the adjustment. Helping her to express more of who she was, like really owning who she was, and like, that's not right, and that needs to change. So that's a lot of what BGI brings to the table when it comes to chiropractic. Like, yes, it's about health, and it's about so much more. Questions?
Not a question, could you give 30 seconds synopsis on your book?
Oh, sure.
It is about you after all.
Got to shift into another, put a different hat on. So my book, it's called Path of the Chosen. It's something I've been working on since I was 14. Okay, so I always think it's going to sound kind of funny, but it's a fantasy novel, so it's talking about gods and demons and sorcery. I included a lot of martial arts stuff, but the basic premise is that there's a god. He kind of went a little insane and was trying to take over the world when all the other gods left. And he has a disciple that's trying to wake him up so that they can do that. And most people don't want that to happen. So, and in fact, the gods who are in spiritual form don't want that to happen either, so they've been working with the people who actually exist and live in corporeal form to stop that from happening. And the people that the book revolves around are elementals. They have the power of the elements. And so you got fire, you got wind, you got earth, you got water. And that power ends up growing so big in them that they can achieve this goal, and they also go mad in the process. So it's a 5-book series. I've written 1.5 books so far.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.